After finishing my work abroad, I was rushing back by plane to hold our wedding when a plane crash occurred. When Gabriel heard the news, he went crazy trying to call me. Lying in the ruins, I couldn't move and just let the calls go to voicemail. No matter how much it costs, we must find Elena. I was touched by his love for me, but then I heard the rest of his words. After finding Elena, transplant her heart to Leela. Leela can't hold on much longer. Hooray! Gabriel, Elena is pregnant. Gabriel said coldly. Take care of it, it can't affect my son's return. Lying not far from him, tears streamed down my face. So this marriage I had been looking forward to for 10 years was just a play for him, and I was merely a tool later, because of me. This tool. Gabriel personally cut out Leela's heart. The rescue team found me and carefully carried me out of the ruins. Every inch they moved me. It felt like my body was being pierced by sharp blades, but the pain in my heart was even worse. Seeing me lying motionless, Gabriel became more unrestrained in his words. I've already had an artificial heart arranged after the operation. Tell her that her heart was ruptured due to the high-altitude fall. You know what to do next. Right? The doctor, who was busy bandaging my wounds, felt more and more uncomfortable as he worked. He couldn't help but persuade, Gabriel, Elena is pregnant. The transplant operation will harm the child. Gabriel replied without hesitation. Then get rid of the child and remove her uterus. To that way, she won't find out. Even with my eyes closed, I could feel his cold gaze. I promised Leela back then that the child between her and me would be the sole heir of Vaughn. That will never change. Marrying me is the best outcome Elena could get as long as she's obedient and treats my son as her own. In the future, I'll treat her well too. But what if Elena finds out that it's your biological son? Gabriel gently pinched my only intact finger and rubbed it tenderly. She's so naive, she didn't notice in the past 5 years. And she won't notice in the future either. He suddenly lowered his head and kissed my forehead. I tried my best to hold back from avoiding his touch. Gabriel's whisper was like a devil's tenderness. Please make sure she doesn't feel any pain during the operation. Use the best materials. She's very afraid of pain. The doctor couldn't bear to look anymore and told someone to prepare the operating room. Gabriel, if you don't like Elena, why did you agree to marry her? Why not just marry Leela directly? Then no one would get hurt. Gabriel's voice was cold and indifferent. But the next generation wife of Vaughn can only be from the Hawthorne family. My heart ached. For so many years, I had thought Gabriel and I were in love. I even used to show off in my WeChat moments that I could find true love in a marriage of convenience. What true love was there? What he valued was the power of the Hawthorne family and my naivety. Gabriel personally pushed me into the operating room. On the way, he repeatedly told the doctor to ensure the success of the operation and minimize my pain. The other doctors and nurses all sighed that I was so lucky to have Gabriel care so much about me. As the operating room door slowly closed, I heard the phone call he made. Make sure to completely destroy the plane's black box. Send all the people involved away. Don't leave anyone behind. After today, this will just be an ordinary aviation accident. Understand? I suddenly felt a sharp pain in my chest. The tearing pain gradually spread throughout my body. A sense of emptiness filled my chest. So this was what it felt like to have my heart dug out. When the plane crashed, I was surprised that I could still survive. It turned out that everything was Gabriel's arrangement. He wouldn't let me die because my heart was still useful and I myself was still useful. The anesthesia gradually took over my brain, and everything turned into nothingness. When I woke up again, I was already in the hospital bed. Gabriel was asleep by my bedside, his hand gently placed on the back of mine in a protective gesture. Sensing the movement under his hand, he woke up from his dream and looked at me in surprise. Baby, you're awake. Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? I'll call the doctor to examine you right away. Just looking at his concerned and anxious expression, it was hard to believe that he didn't love me. His hand was warm, but when it touched me, I felt a chill all over. I gently withdrew my hand and said hoarsely, "It hurt so much, Gabriel. When the plane crashed, I thought I'd never see you again. I was so scared. Do you know what it's like to be suffocated in the sea? It's pitch black, quiet, and everything around is dead." Gabriel's expression gradually became unnatural. He quickly got up and went out to call the doctor, completely forgetting that there was a call bell in the ward. I looked at his phone which he had accidentally left on the bedside table, and fell into silence. Before, I had never looked at his phone. I had given him enough respect, but now, like every woman suspecting her partner of cheating, I clicked into his phone. The password was the simple 1111. Before, I might have thought he was just too lazy to come up with a complicated password. But now I knew it was Leela's birthday. I familiarly opened his WeChat. The most recent contact was named simply Gabriel, who said he never changed contact names, had changed the name of the only one in his heart. Leela was the full stop in his life. There were few chat records between the two. Most of them were photos of the child that Leela sent him, but no matter what time the photos were sent, Gabriel replied seriously. From the time Leela got pregnant 6 years ago until now, he had never missed a single WeChat message, but every time I sent him a message, he was always impatient. He would only reply with an okay gesture after I had sent a dozen messages. I used to comfort myself that as a big CEO he must be very busy and not replying to my messages meant he was making money. But in fact, he just didn't have time for me. Even when he said he didn't want me to endure the pain of pregnancy, it was all a lie. He just didn't want to have a child with me. I don't know when. My eyes were blurred with tears. All that was left in front of me was the WeChat chat background of him and Leela. The child stood in the middle, and he and Leela each kissed the child's cheek on either side. The family of three looked so intimate. Hearing the approaching footsteps outside, I put the phone back in place. The moment Gabriel came in, he saw my tears. He was startled and rushed to the bedside in 2 or 3 steps. Does it hurt somewhere? Why are you crying, doctor? Come and check what's wrong with her right away. After the doctor examined me, he carefully told me not to get excited. Leela and they're using an artificial heart now, and your uterus has been removed due to severe injuries. It's best to keep your emotions stable. Gabriel held my hand affectionately. Baby, it's okay. Whether you can have a child or not, you're the one I love the most. You'll be the only wife I have in my life. I looked into his affectionate eyes. For the first time, I realized he had the potential to be an actor. Just now, in his phone, I saw the chat records between him and his assistant. The wedding was going on as planned. When I clicked into the wedding details he had personally confirmed, I found out that from the very beginning, the person he was going to walk the red carpet with was Leela. The wedding backdrop, invitations, marriage certificates, everything was for Leela, including Gabriel. I took a breath and wiped away my tears. The wound hurts. Knowing I was afraid of pain. This sentence made him lose all suspicion. Why, Annie, can the wedding be postponed? I don't think I can make it in my current state. He frowned in distress. Everyone has been informed. It's definitely too late to change the schedule now. Otherwise, shall we think of other ways? Find someone to help you complete the wedding process. He seemed to have rehearsed this sentence in his mind many times, and it came out so naturally without any flaws. I nodded. I'll listen to you. He stayed with me in the hospital for most of the day and was called away by a phone call. Elena, I need to preside over an emergency meeting at the company. I didn't show any abnormality and just told him to go and take care of his business, as if I hadn't heard the crying of the child on the other end of the phone just now. After making sure he had left, I contacted 4 medical institutions and asked them to help me find a heart donor. The artificial heart was not safe, and I had to replace it as soon as possible. I also planned to cancel my domestic identity. In the following days, whenever he was free, he would stay with me in the hospital, taking care of me in every detail. Whatever I casually said I wanted to eat, he would buy it for me no matter how far he had to go in the evening. When I said the ward was too stuffy, he would push me outside to look at the stars. I even fantasized that if I didn't know what he had done behind my back, we would still be very affectionate. But I knew. And I wasn't going to continue like this. That night, after he came back, I took the initiative to suggest that he adopt a child from a collateral branch of the Vaughn family. He was so touched that he didn't know what to do. He didn't even object when I proposed to be discharged from the hospital early. When we returned to the Vaughn residence, almost everyone was at the door to welcome me. Everyone had tears on their faces and looked at me with pity as I was carried out of the car. Gabriel's father and mother rushed over and held my hands. Does it hurt? I've had your room arranged as a medical room you can recover at home from now on. I'll only be at ease if I take care of you myself. I ignored the fake smiles on their faces and my eyes fell on a little boy on the sofa. Who is he? Gabriel squatted beside me and explained. He's the grandson of my uncle. His parents died in a car accident last year. If you like him, shall we adopt him? I looked at the child who looked almost exactly like Gabriel and smiled. Why, Anne? He looks so much like you. If you didn't tell me, I would have thought he was your child. Gabriel's smile almost froze on his face. Don't make such jokes. We Ray all from the Vaughn family. It's normal to look alike. Gabriel's mother quickly explained. Elena, we respect your opinion. If you like this child, we'll keep him. Yes, we'll listen to you. The others echoed. But everyone's face was filled with certainty. I knew that even if I didn't agree, they would find a way to make me do so, so I simply nodded. I like him very much. Everyone quietly breathed a sigh of relief. I made an excuse that I was tired and went upstairs to rest. As I passed the stairwell, I heard someone talking. Gabriel really did it. He's amazing, and Elena didn't notice anything unusual at all. Yeah, someone originally suggested adopting a child from an orphanage, but luckily Gabriel refused after all. They look so much alike. No one would believe it's a coincidence. Go clean Gabriel's bedroom later. Leela has been waiting in the bedroom since early morning. Gabriel threw his clothes out even before he entered the door. I don't know how long it will take for them to finish inside. A huge buzzing sound filled my ears. Did Gabriel love Leela so much? I had just come home, and he couldn't wait to comfort his beloved. I looked up at the next door room, which was Gabriel's bedroom. I don't know if it was my illusion, but I could almost hear the floating sounds coming from inside. Thinking about what they were doing up there, I felt nauseous and retched. The voices in the stairwell stopped abruptly. The two servants came out with pale faces. Elena, when did you come? I was sweating profusely from the pain and the incision on my stomach. Gabriel rushed out of the bedroom when he heard the noise. His collar was crooked, and I immediately saw the red mark on his neck. Behind him, Leela was even bolder. The hem of her skirt hadn't been put down yet. Gabriel noticed my gaze and explained in a fluster. Leela said she prepared a gift for you, but it was delivered to my room by mistake. He ran back into the room, took out a box, and put it in my hand. Open it and see if you like it. Before I could open it, the box was snatched from behind. The little boy held the box tightly and refused to let go. No, this is what Mom bought. I couldn't help but laugh. Your mom passed away, didn't she? How could she buy it? The 5-year-old child already knew a lot. Hearing this, he ran over and hugged Leela's leg. She is my mommy. Mom didn't die. Gabriel turned his head and gave Leela a meaningful look. When he turned back, his expression was almost the same as usual. A 5-year-old child has a poor understanding. He calls anyone mom. When he was sent here yesterday, he called me dad. It's quite funny. I followed his words. You two have a special father-son bond. You also have a strong mother-son connection with him from now on. We'll be a family. His eagerness to trap me was laughable, and indeed, I couldn't hold back my laughter. Perhaps Gabriel didn't realize that everything he said now was full of loopholes to me. To be with Leela in the end, he plotted my plane crash to make their child the legitimate heir of Vaughn. He heartlessly removed my uterus. How on earth did I pick such a man from the trash? What are you laughing at? I avoided his gaze, clicked to confirm the cancellation of my identity information, and then looked at the child snuggling in Leela's arms not far away. I'm really happy for you that the family of 3 can be reunited. Gabriel took a second to react and then smiled. It's for all of us. That night, Vaughn held a grand banquet, claiming to celebrate my survival and welcome Lucas as the official heir of Vaughn. But the living room was decorated with all kinds of cartoon dolls and had a children's theme. The cake was in a shape that children liked. The guests' eyes didn't even notice me sitting in a wheelchair. I laughed at myself, made an excuse to go to the balcony for some air. Looking into the banquet hall, Gabriel was holding Lucas, socializing with others. Lucas was shy and kept holding Leela's hand. Mom, I'm hungry. Gabriel was stunned for a moment and then scolded in a low voice. Mom has gone to rest. You've mistaken someone. Lucas wanted to say something, but Gabriel covered his mouth. Sorry about that. Kids tend to call anyone of a similar age mom. Everyone cooperated with a smile, but secretly they were all talking about how Gabriel and Leela's long-distance relationship was coming to an end. I suddenly felt very tired. It turned out that everyone except me knew they were going to get married. I was like a fool, looking forward to a future that didn't belong to me. While I was in a daze, my wheelchair suddenly shook violently. Leela, seeing that she didn't push me down the first time, tried again. I fell heavily to the floor. The wounds on my stomach and chest split again and blood quickly seeped through the gauze. Leela, seeing this, also covered her chest. Seeing you in such a mess, I suddenly feel a sharp pain in my chest. Why is that? I looked at the position of her chest, as if I could see my heart beating inside. Through her dress she stood in front of me like a victor. Your heart is in me, and my son is going to be in the Vaughn family tree. Elena, after all these years, you still can't beat me. Her proud look was as annoying as it was in college back then. I had Gabriel. He would protect me behind him and tell me it was okay if I didn't get the scholarship in his heart. I was always the first, but the person who once held me dear had long since thrown me away. I don't know when it started, but Gabriel increasingly ignored my existence. Before, he couldn't wait to be with me 24 hours a day. Later, when I was on a business trip for half a month without coming back, he wouldn't even contact me actively. I thought this was what love was like. And what would hold us together in the end was family, was a child, but he had cut that bond himself. The anger in my heart reached its peak when I saw Gabriel patiently wiping Lucas's mouth in the living room. I asked Leela, with my heart in your body, in the future, will he love you for who you are? Or for my heart? Her eyes suddenly widened and then anger flared up. Elena, you're courting death. Leela raised her foot and kicked hard towards my stomach, but when her foot was about to reach me, she suddenly changed direction. The next second, she fell backwards with a thud and hit the floor. I looked up and met Gabriel's cold eyes. He kicked me aside like garbage, ran to Leela's side, and squatted down. He carefully reached out and picked her up. Leela, what happened? Leela covered her chest, and blood soon seeped through with tears in her eyes. She looked charmed. Elena said that if I was too nice to Xiaoshu, it would make the child misunderstand my identity, but I just like the child. I didn't mean anything else. Yan, I'm sorry, it was my fault tonight. She tried to stand up but accidentally pulled the wound and bent over in pain. It hurts so much. Gabriel immediately carried her to my room and called away the doctor who was about to bandage me. The doctor frowned. Gabriel, Elena is bleeding too much. She is in danger of losing her life. Gabriel roared, as long as her heart is beating, she won't die. All the strength in my body was suddenly drained. My heart ached, but that was impossible. I no longer had a heart. The people around me dispersed like a tide. As they passed by me, they didn't forget to curse me, saying I deserved it. I looked at the empty living room, feeling cold all over. A few minutes later, I made a phone call after leaving Vaughn. I got on the plane without looking back. All of this should have ended long ago, but I'm not the kind of person who would tolerate being wronged in the early morning. A piece of news: Hawthorne's daughter drowned was posted on Weibo.in. I was sitting on a private plane, with various instruments attached to my body. Cecilia looked at the wounds all over my body with a pained expression. Miss, how dare that bastard treat you like this? My were interrupted by a phone message. Gabriel had sent several messages. Elena, you must give Leela an explanation for what happened tonight. She's still upset until now. Because of you, the Vaughn family has lost all its face. Do you even realize that you're about to become part of the Vaughn family? Xiaoshu has been crying non-stop because of seeing you go crazy. We can't even calm him down. I know you're jealous of my good relationship with Leela, but that's just because we have similar interests. We're just friends, not in that dirty relationship you think. My parents were very disappointed in you tonight. I hope you can apologize to them now. I don't want this kind of thing to happen again. This is the last warning. Every word was in defense of Leela and his family. He didn't even notice that I was no longer at Vaughn. Maybe feeling that his tone was too harsh, he sent another WeChat message. Everyone's attention was on Xiaoshu tonight, but he's just a child. You don't need to argue with him. I'll give you a surprise at our wedding in a few days. A surprise? My nose tingled, and I bit my lower lip hard to keep from crying. This was Gabriel's usual tactic. Every time he made me angry or ignored me, he would prepare a surprise for me: the latest bags, clothes, jewelry, and all kinds of antiques from auctions. Every time, I would forgive him. It wasn't that I loved money, but because it was him, so I was willing to give him a way out. If Leela hadn't sent me those evidences last night, I wouldn't have known that every gift he gave me over the years was chosen by Leela. Indeed, only a woman knows a woman best. She knew who my bottom line was. I turned off my phone and closed my eyes to rest. After arriving in the United States, I was arranged to be admitted to the pre-arranged hospital. I successfully underwent a heart transplant surgery and replaced the unstable artificial heart. But my uterus was gone forever. I touched the hideous scar on my stomach. My eyes filled with coldness. Cecilia opened her phone and showed me. Miss, the previous trending topic was removed with money. Gabriel didn't see it. Without thinking, I knew it was Leela's doing. She didn't want Gabriel to see the news of my disappearance before the wedding, but I didn't want to let her have her way. Is their wedding today? Yes, according to the time in China, they should be greeting guests now. Cecilia turned on the projector and played the live stream of Gabriel's wedding. Leela, wearing a customized wedding dress, stood beside Gabriel, smiling and greeting guests. Every move of hers was full of the demeanor of a proper wife. Lucas nestled beside the two of them, smiling cutely and obediently. Everything was going on as planned. Leela was handed over to Gabriel by her father. The two passionately kissed in front of the guests. The scene was so harmonious that I almost felt reluctant to disrupt it. Cecilia, send the message. As soon as I finished speaking, a person suddenly ran into the wedding hall. He pushed through several bodyguards and stood in front of Gabriel. Gabriel, I couldn't find Elena, but I saw a piece of news online. Elena drowned 3 days ago. The ring in Gabriel's hand suddenly dropped to the ground. He couldn't believe his ears and grabbed the man's collar. What did you say? Say it again. The man's neck was tightly pinched, and he had difficulty breathing. He struggled desperately to finish his words. Elena was picked up from the villa by a man in black. She got on the plane to the United States that night, but that flight crashed due to encountering air currents. The search and rescue team has been looking for 2 days. But there's no sign of her body. Impossible. Gabriel couldn't believe this at all. He kept denying it. Elena was just angry with me. She must be resting in one of our other houses. Go and send people to look for her right away. Kari. Gabriel, I searched everywhere. The man pulled up the surveillance footage of my boarding. This is the last image of Elena in the country. In the footage, I was standing in front of the boarding gate, lost in thought. After a while, I took out my phone and made a call, but after more than 10 minutes, I hung up the phone. Disappointed, lie and threw it into the trash can. Gabriel asked someone to enlarge the surveillance footage and only then saw that the number I dialed was his. He hurriedly took out his phone and saw more than 20 missed calls from 3 days ago. What was he doing at that time? Why didn't he answer the phone? Are you okay? A pair of soft hands held his arm. It was Leela that day. She said I pushed her down and made a big fuss, asking the doctor to give her a full body check at night. She didn't dare to sleep alone and kept pestering Gabriel. So he put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Gabriel covered his face. What have I done? Leela quickly comforted him. Why, Anne, our relatives and friends are watching. How about we finish the ceremony first? I'll also arrange my people to look for Elena immediately. She's a kind-hearted person. She survived the last plane crash, so she'll be fine this time too. Her words made Gabriel's body tremble. Something in his heart exploded. The last plane crash wasn't my luck, it was his deliberate arrangement, but this time, it was a real plane crash. How could I possibly survive? Thinking of this, he shook off Leela and walked outside. Prepare the car. Call the rescue team to search. I want to see her alive, and if she's dead, I still want to find her body. The assistant blocked his way. Gabriel, take a look at this first. I saw this at the villa entrance when I was looking for someone today. It's something Elena left for you. I was sent to the hospital and then found out that I was pregnant. I was so happy that I didn't care about anything and called Gabriel several times, saying I wanted to come back early. I wanted to tell him this good news in person. Gabriel's hand holding the examination form was shaking more and more violently. His eyes were bloodshot. Impossible if she knew she was pregnant. Why didn't she make a scene? She loves children so much. After knowing her uterus was removed, how could she be so calm? This form must be fake. She couldn't have known she was pregnant. The assistant let out a deep sigh. Gabriel. I checked your call records when you called Elena on the day of the plane crash. It went to voicemail. She heard everything you said afterwards. Gabriel was stunned. The astonishment in his eyes was gradually replaced by horror. With a thud, he slumped to the ground powerlessly, his fingers bending abnormally as they hit the floor. She was even happy for our family of 3 to be together. How could she just leave like this? No. Gabriel suddenly remembered. She said she was happy for me. She already knew. Knew what? The assistant had an epiphany. You mean Elena found out about the child? This was the only explanation available at the moment. But Gabriel simply couldn't believe that. He stubbornly thought that I was just angry about being ignored and left home out of jealousy. He told the assistant to send people to look for me, using any connections necessary as long as they could find me. Gabriel scrambled up from the ground in a sorry state and was about to walk out when his parents stopped him. What are you making a fuss about? The guests outside are waiting for you to propose a toast. Don't create more trouble. That woman was never the daughter-in-law we wanted anyway. If she's dead, so be it. And it's actually good that she died like this. At least the Hawthorne family won't come after us. We can only say their daughter was unlucky. Gabriel, who had always been respectful to them, suddenly pushed the 2 of them away like a madman. I won't let her die. She's the one I want to marry. I don't want anyone else but her. I watched the man on the monitor going crazy, completely unable to understand. Had he tried to scheme against me to be with Leila? Now that I was helping him achieve his wish, why wasn't he happy? After all, the Vaughn family was a well-known and influential family in high society. Gabriel's parents wouldn't allow him to act recklessly. They directly had him locked in the lounge. Watch him until the wedding is over. Before the lounge door was fully closed, he heard others gossiping. I told you a few days ago that I saw the news of Elena drowning. Now do you believe me? But the Vaughn family has always said they're going to marry into the Hawthorne family. With Elena dead, how can this wedding go on? Don't tell me it's a ghost wedding. A friend of mine is a servant in the Vaughn family. She said today's bride is Leila. Because Elena lost her heart and uterus in the plane crash, Leila is helping her go through the wedding process. But I felt something was wrong when I came this morning. The arrangements here were all confirmed in advance. Did they know in advance that Elena couldn't attend the wedding? Gabriel stood dumbly at the door of the lounge. That had been news a few days ago. Why hadn't he seen it? His heart skipped a beat. That had blocked all news about the plane crash, and he had also strictly kept secret the details of Elena's injuries. Everyone involved in the surgery had signed a confidentiality agreement. Those people were afraid of the power of the Vaughn family and definitely wouldn't say a word. But how did these people know? The assistant, seeing his ugly expression, immediately started to investigate. The commotion in the hall gradually died down. I wasn't satisfied with this situation and asked to proceed with the second step. Gabriel's phone received an anonymous email. It was from the night 5 years ago when he had a relationship with Leila. He had thought that he was drugged by the supplier and couldn't control himself, so he had a relationship with Leila. But in the video, it was Leila who took the initiative to sprinkle the powder into the wine glass, and she was the one who took the initiative to enter the room. It wasn't just one night, but a whole day and night. Gabriel's long-held belief collapsed 5 years ago. He thought he had forced Leila and ruined her good life. So no matter what she asked, he would agree. He even calculated against me out of guilt. But now that the truth was out, he was also a tool in the calculation. Gabriel knelt at the door, tears streaming down uncontrollably. Andy, did I do wrong? His voice was very low. The assistant was stunned for a moment before understanding. Gabriel, I reminded you before that Leila didn't seem that simple. While Elena's world only had you. Gabriel raised his hand and slapped himself several times. Blood soon oozed from the corner of his mouth. But he still felt it wasn't enough compared to the harm he had done to me. This was nothing. The door was gently pushed open. Lucas ran in with his short legs. Dad, why are you hiding here? Mom is chatting with people outside. I'm so bored. Come with me. Okay? He reached out to hold Gabriel's hand but was thrown away harshly. Lucas hit the door panel behind him heavily and burst into tears. Dad is bad. You're as bad as that woman. Gabriel's eyes instantly turned sharp. What did you say? Who's the bad woman? Lucas had snot and tears all over his face. He stared at Gabriel in dissatisfaction. The bad woman who was pushed down by Mom. Mom said she was going to snatch you from me. And if you had her, you wouldn't want me anymore, so I cut open her gauze when she was asleep. She bled a lot. But why didn't she die? Gabriel looked at his 5-year-old son in disbelief. He couldn't imagine that such vicious words and deeds could come from a child. Who taught you to do this? Tell me quickly, who taught you to do this? Let go of me. Lucas struggled desperately. I just hate her, bad woman bitch. Leela, hadn't fulfilled session. Who followed in, turned deathly pale when she heard Lucas's words. She covered her son's mouth. Yn. The child doesn't understand. He didn't mean to say that. I'll definitely teach him a good lesson later. Don't be angry. Gabriel looked at her with a cold gaze she had never seen before. Leela, after today, I don't ever want to see you or your son again. This was the first time he had spoken to Lucas in such an icy tone. Such despicable people don't deserve to be the heir of Vaughn, let alone be my son. On that day, Gabriel summoned several bodyguards and managed to break out of the lounge. He seemed completely deranged the next day. He announced the termination of all cooperation between Vaughn and Montgomery. He kicked his parents out of the board of directors, and even those who had spoken ill of me behind my back were dealt with one by one. He personally went to my parents' house to apologize. My father had a hot temper. Although he knew I was safe, he didn't miss the chance to teach Gabriel a lesson. He beat Gabriel so severely that he couldn't get out of bed for half a month. My father even took a video for me on purpose. I originally wanted to break his legs, but your mother said we should be more forgiving, so we just had his family boycotted. Don't worry, hadn't fulfilled session. My dear dad won't let you be bullied in vain. I originally wanted to say that I could handle it myself. But my father refused. He said my biggest task was to cooperate with the doctor and rest well, so I could only get news about Vaughn from my phone. Although our family's business was mostly abroad, we held shares in several major domestic investment companies. My parents' boycott completely removed Vaughn from the upper-class society. In just 1 month, the once glorious Vaughn went bankrupt. And without Vaughn as its support, Montgomery soon declined, having lost their cars, houses, and with a bastard child to raise. The Montgomery family directed all their anger at Lucas and Leela. Leela not only had to work 2 jobs to pay for food, but also was beaten and scolded by her parents whenever they were in a bad mood. Lucas, who had lived like a young master since birth, had never suffered such grievances. He cried non-stop every day, which finally led to the Montgomery family kicking the mother-son pair out. Leela's emotions finally broke down. She hit Lucas hard on the street. It's all because of your nonsense. Otherwise, how could Gabriel have found out those things? What's the use of having a useless son like you? Why don't you just die? Lucas hadn't had a proper meal for several days and had no strength to resist. He was beaten to death when Leela was taken away by the police. She was still cursing. She cursed Lucas for being useless, Gabriel for being heartless, and even me, calling me a vixen who wouldn't let her go even after death. From beginning to end, she never thought she had done anything wrong due to the time lag of information. When I saw all this, Leela had been sentenced to death for intentional homicide. I had once imagined whether I would be happy when I really saw her reap what she sowed. I was indeed happy, but I still hated her. Because of her, I lost my child, and I would never be able to have my own child in the future. Moreover, when she died, she was carrying my heart. This was the thing I couldn't accept the most. She really didn't deserve it. Unexpectedly, this matter soon took a turn. Gabriel spent all his savings to visit Leela in prison. Leela had gone mad. When she saw Gabriel, she started tearing at her clothes. Yn, did you come to see me because you missed me? Do I look good now? Gabriel didn't stop her from lunging at him. He just waited quietly when Leela pressed herself against him. He finally moved. The knife hidden in his sleeve was stabbed into Leela's chest before the prison guards could react. He had cut open Leela's chest and dug out the beating heart with his own hands. This is her heart. You don't deserve it. The next second, he pulled out the knife and cut out his own heart. Looking at the 2 hearts placed side by side, he slowly smiled. Elena, we're still together. In the next life, I will surely recognize my true feelings. Will you wait for me? because the incident had a very bad impact. It was already a year later when I learned the news the pictures had been processed, but still carried a bloody smell. Deal with it.